seconds, and I was Board of Appeals for the Town of Duxbury for this evening. In accordance with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, as amended on March 28, 2025, this meeting will be conducted in person and as a courtesy via remote means in accordance with applicable law. Please note that while an option for remote attendance or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public and to board members, the meeting/hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcasts unless required by law. This meeting will be recorded by the local scene, formerly known as pac-tv. Members of the public who wish to watch the meeting may do so by viewing the Duxbury Government Access channels, Verizon 39 or Comcast 9. You can also watch it on the local scene /Duxbury for Duxbury programming, including streaming and watching replays on YouTube. All right, we have a limited number of things on our agenda this evening. All of them are, well, at least the first two are new cases. So I'm going to call the first one, which is 105 St. George Street. The Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing in the Mural Room here to consider the application of Carla Jaspers and David Whiting for a special permit under Articles 400 and 900, Sections 401, 401.2, 401.4, 410.4, and 906.2 of the Duxbury Protective Bylaw. The property is located at 105 St. George Street, parcel number 117-015-000 of the assessor's map, consisting of 1.06 acres in the residential compatibility district and owned by the applicants, who propose to raise and rebuild a pre-existing non-conforming barn. A special permit is required. The application can be viewed on the town's website, and we will make accommodation for anyone who cannot otherwise reach it that way. Okay. Among what?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Among the materials that have been submitted, we of course have an application. There is a letter from the applicants to the Historical Commission indicating that they would like to demolish a barn. A variety of photographs, some floor plans, and positive that we have input from other boards that I don't have here.
There was a letter from the Historical
I saw
Commission where they commented that despite the fact that the barn's associated with historic characters and contains original materials, the structure is too far gone, so demolition delay is waived.
Thank you.
By unanimous vote.
There was one from the water department who wants to gouge him for another meter as well.
The meter is required per water department regulations. All right, well.
The demolition waiver, though, that Phil just wrote expired in May of this year, so I'm not sure.
Sorry, I didn't.
The demolition?
The demolition.
The waiver.
Oh, the waiver.
I didn't think demolitions. I've got a couple that
Well, that's interesting.
they
We should talk about
They weren't
it.
Yeah,
expiring
yeah,
once I
absolutely.
got
Right.
permission.
All right. At the meeting of the Planning Board on June 23, the board voted unanimously to defer judgment to this board, noting that they do not see anything from a planning perspective preventing approval. Nancy Rufo, the Conservation Administrator, indicated that the conservation folk had reviewed and determined the proposed work is not located in a resource area, and therefore it falls outside the jurisdiction. Lauren, who is here and can speak for herself if she wishes, on behalf of the Board of Health, says that you better get a passing Title V inspection before Lauren's going to sign off. And then we received very recently a letter from the Design Review Board that makes the following recommendations. The DRB recommends the owner reduce the size of the shed dormer on the front of the new garage to be more in scale with the existing home. There's a shed dormer on the existing house that seems to be more in keeping with the style and scale of the home. Our intention is to have a better balanced grouping of structures and consistent fenestration. The DRB recommends a flat roof connector between the new garage and the existing main house to simplify the roofscape, and encourages the applicant to provide a new set of drawings consistent with what they have proposed. I don't think we have anything else. All right, so the way we do this, we hear first from the applicant. The board will ask questions. Then we will open it up for public comment, and we'll go from there. And if you're going to talk, and I hope you do, you got to go to the microphone or grab the microphone.
Okay. Okay, thank you. My name's Carla Jaspers. I'm audible, I imagine. Yeah, so my husband and I live at 105 St. George Street. We are in the process of trying to find a way forward with the barn. We've lived in the house since 2020. The barn, in its current state, it is an unsafe structure. It is not really useful in its current capacity. We can't really, in good faith, use it in any kind of storage capacity without a bit of trepidation because of its state. The weather, powder post beetle, just damage. There's been a lot of damage and not much fortification as far as we can tell over the past 200 plus years. So we were hoping to demolish it and build something within the current footprint. We're actually proposing something a slight bit smaller within the current footprint, and we'd like to attach it to the home to make it more functional for current modern life, where we would actually have an entrance with a mudroom sort of adjoining the barn to the house on that east side.
Okay. The board have questions?
So I'm just trying to understand the effect of the Historical Commission's approval to waive demolition delay with an expiration date of last year.
We reached out to them in 2023. So we went through a pretty significant renovation on the house in 2022.
I see.
We moved back in, and it was just, we were ambitious, and then we sort of kind of recalibrated with our budget and everything, and it just wasn't feasible. So it's like we got the ball rolling, and then just it was more of a just sort of nothing other than just time and money sort of catching up with us, and we paused, but we wanted to at least get it in front of them. We wanted eyes on it just to sort of understand if there were any constraints, and at that time that the board was in support of tearing it down just because of the state that it's in at this point. It's a safety hazard more than anything. So yeah, that is essentially, now that we're sort of ready for that phase. Yeah, I was aware of that, was it May 2025? So I started conversation with the board kind of in the spring months of March and April, just to kind of state our intention, and everybody knew about the deadline, but yeah, I got the ball rolling on this permit, sort of understanding that was in the books, so.
So this would need to be reissued, yes? Because this is expired.
I guess I was under the assumption that because I had the stamped application in before the deadline, so I thought that kind of reflected that the process was underway. I think that was the intention, that the process was underway prior to the expiration. So it was like intentions were known that I thought that that would satisfy the requirement.
And any of those sort of permit extension things that happened during
Yeah, I was
COVID,
thinking of
did
that.
any of those apply?
Well, I
don't
was
know.
just thinking the same thing,
Yeah.
because there is that, I read through that document, and I can't remember anything related to historical, but any permits and extensions they're extended. I've had a few of them that come up, we normally would go through a process, and I was shown that document, and I was like, yeah, you're right, 100%.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
They don't know either.
And the discussion that the board is having is that during COVID, there were permit extensions that were largely granted
Across the board,
about almost everything,
yeah.
which may or may not actually apply here.
Who's going
We
to make
could-
that determination?
I,
Well,
and
I think if we carried on with the meeting, I'd be 100% confident that the presenter could get a letter from the board saying, you're all set. You know, if you made a caveat to that.
you went pretty much exactly the direction I was
Sorry.
likely to go, which was, I mean, if you can condition it on getting in.
I've gone before the board before and I got delayed, but, which was fine, that was my intention. But once that's happened, I still haven't torn the buildings down. They can't come double jeopardy, so to speak.
I
Yeah,
can,
They tried, but I went,
And I was just trying to understand the effect of this. That's
Yeah.
why
I
it's
can
a
make a
question.
comment on it if it helps the board at all.
Sure.
So we did have an application, and it was waiting for permit fee, which was never paid. I just put it on hold and noted it that we have to wait for historical approval.
Okay.
So that covers that base.
here you go.
Oh, okay. Sorry, because sometimes I'm so unept. How does it cover that base?
Well, we can't issue a demolition permit without historical
Oh,
approval.
I got it, yeah.
Right.
All right, but this plan appears to me to be more conforming than the last plan.
Yes.
Yep.
Did you consider any of the DRB comments?
I hadn't received, actually, this is the first time I heard about I wasn't able
Oh,
to go.
it came in like 2 days ago.
Yeah, so I wasn't able to be in person to the DRB, and they didn't offer a Zoom link. I couldn't find childcare, and they didn't give me much notice, so it just wasn't feasible. So yeah, I'd be interested to see those recommendations. I haven't had a chance to put eyes on those.
This is the barn that I weighed in on 28 years ago.
For it to be built or
Moved.
moved? Oh, really?
Not for it to be built, he's not that old.
Well, I'm like, that's why I was doing a head scratcher there for a second.
No, the barn was reoriented a long time ago.
Wow.
And
I'm
house
familiar with
was.
it as well.
Yeah.
It's an atrocious building.
yeah,
The house was sideways to the street.
right. Is there anybody here who would like to speak to this application? Did we hear from any of the neighbors or anybody else?
We reached out to the abutters on that side. They told us, good luck. They would probably be in favor of seeing it fall because it poses a risk to their property as well. I don't think there will be any love lost in the community to seeing this barn go. It is a haven for vermin, and it's problematic in its current state.
Yeah, the pictures are pretty clear cut. Board have any other questions?
I do not.
Anybody like to make a motion of any nature?
Vote to close the hearing.
That's what I was hoping for. We'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There's nobody on the board, so we can just do it
Right.
voice vote.
Right.
In terms of discussion, I'm very much in favor of the application. The notion that the DRB had some other suggestions, it's important to me, but if they come in the slate, it's hard to consider them.
Well, do the comments come in within 35 days of referring the
I don't know.
application? When did we refer the application to them?
Would
It says that they were due by 7/9 or ASAP, right, on the cover sheet?
Oh, well, then,
That would be the
we got them
35
by
days.
7/9.
Sent in, that came in July.
Well, that's within the period by law that they're supposed to.
Lauren,
comment.
can you
And
just
so-
post the front of the, do you have elevation
Yeah.
plans that might show that front of the building?
Jim, did you have comments?
I don't have any comments. I just wanted to see if we could see the current, not the existing building, but the new one, the front view, the comments of the DRB, if they. Yeah.
They didn't like the size of the windows.
Can I just ask a question about that?
We've closed the hearing, so we can't really,
Does the, oh, okay.
you can certainly ask a question that we can not answer, but
I guess I just don't understand the clarity here then. So the special permit is not granted, or is the?
Oh,
No,
well,
no, we're not there yet.
we haven't got to that
Yeah.
point.
Okay,
Just
go.
making
The issue
sure.
is- The
No.
issue is the implication of the
Still in the
design review
game.
board's comments.
We're still discussing as to what we're,
Right, okay.
what we're ultimately going to do.
So, I mean, they may have just come in, but if they came in within 35 days, they met their obligation.
They did.
So it's a little hard to say we should just ignore them.
Except,
Mike, just from an architectural standpoint, the reason the dormer on the other side is the scale it is because it's not second floor living space. The intention would be like a second floor in-law apartment living space on the second floor of the barn. So that is the rationale behind the window scale there, because you would want, that scale of a window for a living space. This
And I'll
is not
be-
a second floor, that's just a,
and I'll be direct about this, is that I very much appreciate the input of the design review board. I think that design review board input is important. That said, I do believe that we do not have design requirements in this town, and that applicants are permitted to build what they want, and especially if those, and I understand that this is pre-existing non-conforming, but if the building is not going to be particularly detrimental in any way that is contemplated by the statute, why do,
Well, you raise a valid point. I mean, the jurisdiction here is
right?
whether the proposed project substantially increases the non-conforming nature of the existing structure. That's the issue. So,
And it clearly doesn't.
no. So sometimes when the design review board has comments that are helpful to us, it's a situation where there really isn't sort of an increase either in the nonconformity of the existing structure or a change somehow that is likely going to have an impact on a neighbor. And their comments can be extremely helpful to us to try to sort out how to meet what the applicant wants, and at the same time protect abutters. But this is a somewhat different case.
I agree with
And
that.
I don't think the question here is substantially increase in
No.
the non-conforming nature of the building.
Because it's hard for me to ever conclude it
Yeah.
is.
I mean, I'm not even sure they need a special permit, frankly, but.
They do.
Because there was an old special permit,
There was an old special permit and
which I said on.
a little piece of pie.
Just to throw in my 2 cents, I always greatly value the design review board's input. I think in many cases, they do provide valuable input. However, just looking at this one and looking at their comments, and hearing the applicant's comment about a dormer equal in size or scale to the one on the right-hand side of the house wouldn't work on the left-hand side over the garage because of the intent to use the second floor as extra space. I get that. And the comment from the design review board about making the roof flat between the two, I don't think anybody in the construction trade thinks that flat roofs in New England are a wise idea, regardless of the material that's employed. And
Suggested that.
I don't see that there is anything that could be considered detrimental to the neighborhood. I think it's a very nice
So,
Solution to a problem that the applicant has been very specific about, i.e. the barn's ready to, it's just termites holding hands.
so my big question is, how do we deal with the demolition delay issue?
Well, I think the effect of our permit is subject to that determination by the commission. I mean, they
That's
still
true.
have to have all their other approvals.
Oh,
in
that's
before
true.
They can get a building permit, so.
All right. Are people ready to vote on this?
Yeah, I mean, I am. I'm sad about it, but yes, I get it. Sorry, I'm a planner. We have a preservation planner in my office, so these kinds of things are near and dear to me, but I get it.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%, Judy. I'd rather see something this age preserved, but,
Yeah,
I mean, it looks
that's-
pretty apparent that this one is not. It's too
agreed.
far gone.
Agreed.
All right, so somebody would like to make a motion?
I'll move to grant the special permit as submitted.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor, aye.
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 All right, to answer your question, the special
Appreciate
permit has
that.
been approved.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
All right, the second thing on, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The second thing on for this evening is, relates to 260 to 266 St. George Street. Again, this is a new application. So, everywhere else I go and do this, they ask whether the applicant will waive the reading.
Go ahead. I'm all for that.
All right, is the applicant here? Will you waive the reading of the public hearing notice? Well, I'm about to just go through and here, I'll do it anyway. The Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing tonight to consider the application of Ashley McDonald for a special permit under Articles 400 and 900, Sections 401, 401.2, number 3, 410, 422, and 906.2 of the Duxbury Protective Bylaw. The property is located at 260-266 St. George Street, parcel number 106-742-060 of the assessor's map, consisting of 1.78 acres in the residential compatibility and neighborhood business district 2, and owned by 260-266 St. George Street LLC. The applicant proposes to expand the use on the property to include a hair salon in the vacant structure on the premises. A special permit is required. You can view this on the town's website, and we will make accommodations for those who otherwise need them. All right, so again, what we do is we have an application. We have a site plan that depicts the location and the location of the proposed hair. I don't believe that we received anything from any abutters or other persons, but we have heard from the other boards that we submitted this to. The Concom, or the Conservation Administrator, says it falls outside the jurisdiction of the Concom. The Planning Board voted unanimously to defer judgment, but asks the ZBA to confirm where the tight tank is, as it is not shown on the plan. The Board of Health will require a passing Title V inspection. The Board of Health will also require a disposal system construction permit to be submitted showing the addition of a tight tank for the hair salon. And the DRB says there are no physical changes to the property, so they are not weighing it. So let's hear from the applicant. Same process.
I'm Ashley McDonald. I'm seeking to utilize 266 St. George Street as a small hair studio. In my application, it states there's no structural changes being done to the existing property. And the only thing we'll be adding is the tight tank.
So do you have a hair studio there already?
It's vacant right now
Okay. And where's your existing studio?
in Plymouth.
Oh, okay.
What was the site used for before?
I think it was a few different things, like a law office and like an exterminator.
Okay.
It's the old Barney's.
It's literally the old Barney's.
Why do
Okay.
you need a special permit?
Use? All the uses that were there were all related to automotive, except for the law office one.
But this is within the neighborhood business too, but we need a special permit for it. All right, okay. All right.
I know.
Business use?
I didn't write the bylaw.
Oh, my God. Wayne, we gotta get
Please
on this.
rewrite it.
And yeah, I'm supposed to rewrite it.
If there were things I thought I could do that not be here and not be in the news.
Is there anybody else who would like to weigh in on this in any way? All right, I'd like to move to close the special.
Yeah.
Second.
Second.
All right, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
I move in favor of permitting, granting the special permit.
Second.
All right, all in
Third.
favor, aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
home.
That was about as straightforward as it gets.
This is a waste of people's time and resources. This is just.
You're gonna sell candy too? That's what used to happen there when it was a gas station. The guy sold candy as well. Yeah, penny candy.
Did he have a
that
special
Papa
permit for
Bears?
that? I bet he didn't.
Good luck with your new business.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you. That was so long ago, Tanya, I think it predated law in general.
But not the barn that we're getting rid of. All right, administrative items. The applicants have requested a building permit to construct a 12 by 14 sunroom. The board has to determine whether it's a substantial or insubstantial modification of the comprehensive permit 2019-14. Are you here for that?
Insubstantial change.
Yeah, same.
Let's move on.
All right.
Sorry. This isn't about you. This is about
We're just frustrated
minutia
with the
coming to
process.
this board and dragging people like you down here for absolutely no reason.
All right, I would move to determine it's an insubstantial change and approve it.
Yes,
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your sunroom, yes. Hopefully it'll be sunny soon.
All right, the next one is the Windsor at Millbrook Village. The board to review the regulatory agreement for the comprehensive permit. I am told by very competent authority that towns refuse to do this all the time,
No, we don't have to sign this.
and therefore, I would suggest we not sign it and move on.
Yeah, there's no, they can't require the board to sign the regulatory agreement. They can ask, but they can't require it.
All in favor of we're not signing?
Aye.
Aye.
The effect is agreeing that their agreement supersedes our comprehensive permit, and I'm just not willing to
No.
do that.
All
No way.
right, are there meeting minutes that we need to
Yes,
approve?
Mr. Chair. We have minutes from March 13th, 2025. Wayne Dennison, Judith Barrett, Philip Thorne.
I move that they are approved as drafted.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
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 And then May 22nd, 2025, Wayne Dennison, Judith Barrett, Emmett Sheehan, Tanya Trevisan.
I move that they be approved as drafted.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I move to adjourn.
Aye.
All right.
Second.
All in favor? There we go.
Aye.
Thank you.